Well, hello everyone. This video is slightly different. Okay, it's actually very different from the one that I had planned, which was going to be on location somewhere. But there is a slight problem. If you've been paying attention to the news, you may be aware that there have been 3 typhoons in our vicinity. One of them made its way to Japan. The other one kind of went north a little bit, then fizzled out. And then the third one went through the southern part of Taiwan. So any chance to record on location made it a little bit impossible. That's what I had thought. But then on Sunday morning when I woke up, here in northern Taiwan, there was sunshine and the sky was clear. It was a little bit windy, and I thought, okay, I can go do this right now. But I got to the location and then it started to rain. And more wind. So, had to scrap that idea. Anyway, I'm going to leave that for the topic that I was going to be discussing then for another time. Instead, I want to talk about traveling. Now, when you travel by motorcycle in other countries, there's a few things. First, you get to see some amazing scenery. You get to learn things that you probably never would have learned. At the same time, there's some very funny things that happen, and you meet some very interesting people. In my travels, I have met a number of interesting people, and I was thinking about 2 stories in particular that I'd like to tell you about. The good one is I'm going to keep for the second story. And you'll understand why I want to end on a high note. It just was weird. Anyway, having a coffee right now. It says Starbucks, actually, but this is not a Starbucks. It's not Starbucks coffee. It's a plastic cup that I got from them, and I just make my own coffee to put in. So, l'chaim. Or cheers. Or up yours, whatever the case may be. Anyway, traveling. You always get to meet interesting people, and you get to a lot of interesting places. There's a lot of countries that I've ridden in that I find quite fascinating. And along those journeys, I've met some interesting people. Probably a way of putting it mildly. And I was just thinking about a circumstance of something that happened 2017 when I was riding in Vietnam. So I got to Hanoi and rented a BMW 1200 GS, which I was going to ride through the country, which is exactly what I did for 2 weeks. When I was out, where was it? I don't remember the name. It was somewhere out, way outside Hanoi, in the countryside, in the village. I'd come across another foreigner. Now, I should tell you that my Vietnamese is not great. I can order food, I can order a beer, I can order a gin and tonic. The necessities are always important. And fuel, of course. Now, in Vietnam, if you're in the big cities, right, it's easy to find petrol stations. But once you get out of the big cities, well into the countryside, and this is the same for some other places as well. Burma, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia. Once you get out of the big central areas, finding a petrol station can be rather difficult. So what you will see is on the side of the road these little stands where people are selling drinks, and they're also selling fuel, petrol and diesel. But it's not like you may think. They don't have a pump. You buy it by the bottle. Essentially what they use are plastic Coke bottles that they fill up with fuel, and then you buy it by the bottle and you put it into the tank. Now, you really have to take care because, like I said, they do sell diesel fuel. Now, I know what diesel fuel looks like and I know what it smells like, so I can tell the difference. So I had just arrived at some village, and I don't even remember the name right now, and I knew that I had about another 100 kilometers to do, so I thought, well, I'll buy some fuel now, because I know that at my next stop there is a petrol station where I can fill up. When you buy it in the bottles, by the way, sometimes like there's sediment at the bottles. I mean, you don't even know where the fuel comes from, but it does serve a purpose and it's okay. So I stopped by one of these stands and they had the bottles all in a rack. If I remember correctly, top part was regular fuel and the bottom part was diesel. So I bought a few bottles, and as I'm pouring them into my tank, this guy, I believe from the United States, showed up. And we started talking a bit, and I told him, well, my Vietnamese is absolute rubbish. And then he started to boast about how his was actually so good. It wasn't. He was just boasting about it. So anyway, he was buying some fuel, and he bought the fuel from the woman at this little stand and some water. And just before he was about to pour it into his tank, I said, you should check that, because I said, did you ask for diesel or did you ask for petrol? And he said, oh, I know what I'm doing. I've been here before and yada, 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 yada. I said, are you sure? Because I said, I think that you may be pouring. And as I said, pouring, he started pouring the diesel into his tank. What bike was he riding? It was a Yamaha one, but I don't remember the model. And I went, okay, the guy's a bit of a jerk, bugger it. So I stayed there for a bit and he drove off. Finished my water. Actually ordered a little snack from them, it was very delicious. Then I made my way, and then I came across him a little while later, and his bike had stopped. So I pulled over to the side of the road, and I said, what happened? He said, I don't know, I just got a few meters, and then the bike just died, and it wouldn't turn over. And I said, open your tank. I think you put diesel fuel inside. He said, no, smell it. Sure enough, that's what he had done. Being a bit of as he was a bit of a knob, I said, well, I'm going to be a knob back. And I said, I thought you spoke perfect Vietnamese. Yeah, so the idiot who was boasting about how good his Vietnamese was ended up putting bloody sodding diesel fuel in his tank. If it was anybody else, I would have stopped to help him. But considering the attitude that he had when he was boasting about how great his Vietnamese was, I went on my way. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with a turkey like this. The other time that I came across somebody, two people, that was really an interesting experience. So I was in Beijing. There's an area of Beijing called Chaoyang. Now, Chaoyang is a district of Beijing where you have all the embassies. So the British embassy is there, the Canadian embassy, the embassy of the European Union, Zimbabwe, and so on and so on. And it's quite a big tourist area. There's a lot of shops and cafes, so it's actually a very busy area for tourists to go. So I had just had lunch at a lovely little restaurant that I know, which is long gone, and I was walking back to my apartment. As I was walking, there was an American couple. The only way to describe them is, since you're in YouTube right now, just put in the search box, Harry Enfield, American tourists. Watch the video, and then you'll understand what they were like. So they came up to me with their tourist guide, and I mean, I've had people do that before, and they're looking for maybe a street that has changed its name, or they weren't quite sure, because some of the streets, finding street signs is difficult, so I say, walk 3 blocks and you'll find it right away. I have no problem with that. So they came up to me, and they said, we're looking for something. I said, no problem. What is it you're looking for? Well, should I do the voice? I think I'll do the voice. I don't know what it is, but we've been looking in this tourist guide, and we just can't find Chinatown. For a brief second, I thought to myself, okay, where are the cameras? What is this? Candid camera or something? Yes. I had to briefly pause, and I thought to myself, maybe I misheard. I said, can you repeat that? And they said, yeah, we're looking for Chinatown, but we can't find it in our tour guide book. And then I said, by the way, you are aware that you're in Beijing? Yeah, we know because we have a Beijing tour book. And I said, yeah, but think about it for a moment. If it isn't complicated, at that point I was a little bit sarcastic. Where is Beijing? It's in China. And when I said Beijing is in China, they went, oh my God, we just are so silly. And for a brief second, I was like, yes, silly and completely stupid. I mean, it just, that was in 2007? Was it? Wait, no, 2006. That is the weirdest question that I've ever been asked traveling anywhere. I'm in Beijing, which is in China. And somebody coming up to you saying, we can't find Chinatown. You can find it in other cities. I mean, it's true, actually. If you go to any city in the world, there is a Chinatown. But we're in Beijing. That's like coming here to Taipei and say, we're looking for Chinatown. Duh. I mean, it doesn't completely surprise me that Americans in particular will say something like that. I mean, not that long ago, I think it was the early 1990s, something like around only 10% of the American population had passports. It's a little higher now, but I think you get what I mean. Anyway, if you travel around by motorcycle or other means and have funny little stories, post them below. I'm always interested. Anyway, that's it for now. Like, comment, and what was I going to say? Surprise. No. Like, comment, and subscribe. And hopefully the rain will stop outside and we can shoot the next video outside about road rage.